Well, I think I might have to get a pipe wrench around this shaft right there at that shoulder and hold it still while I get the nut off the back, because it just keeps wanting to turn. I hate to do that, but sometimes it's really the only way to go. And hopefully we don't mar it up too bad and clean that back up. So I'd been looking at my motor and thinking about it, and I wanted to mount it hanging down rather than sitting up on top of something, because it's kind of a nice looking motor, and you know, I don't know, I just maybe it's just me, but I like the look of these old motors. A lot different from, you know, something modern like that thing, or this one over here on the drill press. But anyways, so as I got to look at it, I was thinking, well, maybe I can take these bolts out and rotate the caps so that the oil ports will be back on top. But you know, no need to do that on this motor. And by the way, you can do that on some motors. Some motors you can't. You really have to just take it apart and see what you're dealing with. That can be done. But you know, and that's if you want to change your mounting position. There's this plug in the bottom, and then there's your oil fill. Not sure what to call that, bushing. And that will go right at the bottom, so I can easily swap those out. It's the same on the other side, and invert the motor, and it'll be just the way I want it to be. So yeah, that's where we're at now. Still got to frame this out. And, you know, I've got my hangers over here dismounted. I'm building up quite a collection of square head bolts and nuts in here from that we're used to set up the counter shaft and the line shaft. So those are nice to have, and I'll probably clean up a number of those and reuse them. You know, the hangers are fine. Ain't really much to go wrong with those. So, I suppose I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, so finally have our casting disassembled. I got that last shaft out. I did end up having to put some vice grips around this diameter here to hold it still while I got this nut undone. And that was on there pretty damn tough. You know, it took a cheater bar even to get it off. See, somebody's done an oiling mod at some point in its life, so don't really see anything too wrong with that, I guess. More oil the better. But there's my little scriber. All the, yeah, you probably can't see that, but all these oil holes are packed full of crap. And look, this one's so packed. I can barely even get the scriber down into there. Yeah, that one's bad. So I'll need two hands, a little leverage, but you know, that's what happens when you get old machines like this. You know, those oil holes over time, originally they had little brass plugs that went in each one, but those almost always get lost, and such is the case on this machine. And then just shit gets in there over the years, and it builds up, and it plugs up your bearings, and you know, things don't get oil, and that's when things start to wear out and break down. A little bit of preventative maintenance goes a long way. So, I'm going to clean this up a little bit and get all the oil ports cleared out. I got most of the smaller parts been soaking in the solvent bucket. Have some hand wheel polishing and things I gotta do. So, I better get to it. Some of you might puzzle about how to clean these tubes out, and you know, for the oil, the easiest way I found is, you see that, just shove a piece of baling wire through, and then, you know, once you've got it poked out, you can put a little piece of cloth and then ram that through, and it should make it nice and clean. It's a good way to go. You can get pipe cleaners or something like that too, but this is just real easy, and everybody has got wire laying around the shop. I just wanted to show you the difference here. This half has been cleaned with you know, rag and solvent, and this half is not, obviously. Also went through with a chisel and just knocked the little bit of extra paint off of these flats that didn't belong there. And I did that over the whole thing, so yeah, just a little bit of cleaning will brighten it up pretty good. You can see some of the original paint down here. Black Japanning, very nice smooth finish under there. It feels like it was at one time, but you know, eventually when I repaint this, I'll go ahead and repaint it black. I'm not a huge fan of black on machine tools. I think it sucks up a lot of light, but in this case I'm gonna make an exception. Alright, I'll keep on going. I got some of our apron parts out of the solvent, and you know, the solvent is really just kind of a preliminary clean to get the majority of the gunk off so I can get a better look at things. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Yeah, there we go. So you see we've got some fairly worn half nuts. They'll still work, they'll still engage. So you could still cut a thread, and the lead screw doesn't look bad, so you can still cut a good thread even with those half nuts. But that's something to add to the list of things to address in the near future. You know, you can rebuild them yourself. There's a number of ways to do it. I've seen guys use, you know, JB Weld and cast iron dust to do it. I'm not really a fan of that method. I've seen some people use Babbitt, and I think the Babbitt method is probably a pretty decent method. And also you could bore that out and put a bronze sleeve. There are some people out there that offer the half nut rebuild service at reasonable cost, so that might be the route to go to. But like I said, for now, they will still work. They will still cut an accurate thread. It's really not as big a deal as some people make it out to be. And again, like I said, in the near future, I will be addressing that. So, gotta get to round 2 of cleaning now. This is a prime example of why you need to tear your machines apart from time to time and just give them a good thorough cleaning and going through. And you can see that gear there and all the little nicks and things in it. We got a couple of teeth that are a little messed up. That's probably from chips and shit getting in there and getting caught, and then, you know, it screws things up. And in fact, shortly after I pulled the cross-slide screw, when I pulled the cross-slide screw, it pulled a bunch of crap back and spilled it into the apron, into the gear train there. And, you know, I tried to move it after that. I could feel it bound up, and, you know, so something got in there at some point. But this isn't from that. This has been run with all that crap in there. So, you know, not really much we can do about that. We'll clean it up, put it back. It looks structurally sound. Don't see any cracks, don't see any missing teeth. we're missing one of these guide pins, and these hold the clutch cone from spinning and allow it to be guided back and forth. So missing one of those. The other one's bent a little bit, probably because this one's been missing for so long and that one's been taking all the force. So we're gonna go ahead and just remake both of those. I don't think we need any special steel here or drill rod or anything like that. I'm just gonna use some nice some cold rolled and turn those out, and I'll go ahead and just probably end up Loctiting them in. I know some people frown on the Loctite, but I've had pretty good experience with it myself. It's some incredibly strong stuff. If you guys watch my other videos, you may remember the gearbox repair that I did on this, and that one gear in there is held by nothing more than red Loctite, and I put a lot of hours on this lathe since then, and I used that, and I pushed it for a good while too to make sure that that repair was going to hold up. Haven't had any problems with it. And in a future video, I'll probably take all this back apart. You know, this is due for getting pulled and cleaned up. It hasn't been done in a few years, so but anyways, yeah, we'll pull that apart in a future video and see just how that's been holding up. But anyhow, back to the lathe at hand. Yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to say for now. Is you know, the other gears, excuse me, a lot of other gears that are down here that were in the apron, just like this, you know, I mean, this also happens too from using compressed air to clean things, and compressed air really does it, blows crap up into places that it doesn't belong, and you get damage like that, you know. And thankfully, on this lathe, everything was good. I didn't have any serious damage from, you know, the chips being up in there. But this lathe is significantly older. You know, you're always gonna have problems with any antique machine like this, unless you buy it and it's been ground up, restored already by the previous owner. And even then, you know, you never know what that guy before you did, and what he didn't do, which, you know, could be equally important. Alright, I've said my piece for now. Just getting some of these parts cleaned up a little extra on the wire wheel. We got a little damage right here that was done at some point. It looks like somebody might have dropped this, or anyways, filed that off, but it should function okay. I'll put that on the list of things to remake one of these days. But yeah, things come out, you know, pretty nice and clean. Half nuts are all cleaned up, you know. All our gears. Notice too that on these early south bends, I really haven't run into any wicks. They just use these little oil grooves, and in fact that even looks like it might have been chiseled in there with a cold chisel. So interesting too is you can see, you know, I didn't do that. That's some scraping when they were fitting everything up. So anyhow, I think this is where we're gonna leave it for this edition. Before the video gets too long, I want to go ahead and get it all uploaded, and hopefully by the end of the next edition we'll have this apron all, you know, all this apron work done and reassembled, and then I can turn my attention to cleaning up the saddle and the compound and the cross slide and all that. And yeah, so that's about where we are right now, and I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like these videos, please do like them. If you have any comments or you have any questions, you know where to put them. And if you'd like to see more, please do subscribe, and have a wonderful day. Just taking another look at this motor here, and I thought I'd tack this on to the end of this video. If any of you electrical gurus out there can tell me what these two different wiring diagrams are for, I'd like to know. I was looking at this, and you know, it's a brush motor. It is an AC motor. Usually a brush motor will run AC or DC. But I think, I'm not sure, I'm going to have to investigate this, but I think that this motor, with a little bit of creative rewiring, and maybe the addition of a few other components outside the motor, could be actually made to generate power. Now, this is going to be hooked up to the line, but eventually I'd like to get, you know, a little antique engine. You know, I'm thinking, you know, 2.5, 3 horse, you know, maybe a Fairbanks Morris or something like that, one of those little economy engines, and use that to run the shop. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get that done. You know, I do have a little 2.5 horse Briggs sitting outside, and it runs. It's a good little engine, and it could probably be made to run the shop in a pinch. But I like the idea of being able to generate power off of the line. And, you know, maybe I could run, I was thinking I could probably run a few lights with it, you know? And, yeah, maybe even the little 9-inch South Bend here, because it's got a motor, and I can't really think of a good way that I could put that on a line, and I'm not sure I would really want to anyways. But yeah, so I just thought I would tack that on, and you know, if anybody's got anything to say about that. I know this motor was running when we took it out, and the wiring, well, it's old, but it's not cracking or flaking off. Usually this cloth covered stuff holds up fairly well. There's some fraying here near the end. There's a little end play in the shaft, which isn't really a huge problem. Tiny amount of radial play, but it should run fine. We're going to take this motor apart soon and get a better look and assess its condition and check out our brushes and see if we need to, you know, machine and polish our commutator at all, which is, you know, likely. You know, we may need to replace some brushes, 4 brushes in this motor. So, not sure exactly what that means. It's a, well, I know, okay, so that's good. This is a single phase. I thought it was single phase. Oh yeah, dual volt. Oh, I see. Okay, so that's how you wire it for 110, and that's how you wire it for 220. Gotcha. Alright, answer my own question. Anyhow, so yeah. Nice little motor. Anybody's got any information on that, let me know. And I will see you in the next edition. Thanks for watching.